welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
And I am Karen. Today we are looking at a lesson called Caviar, Little Eggs, Big Price Tags. That's definitely true. So let me ask you, Mike, do you like caviar?
Well, it's not something I have every day. I should say that first of all. I have it once every couple of years, probably. I do like caviar. It's salty and tasty and good.
But it's very expensive,
But very, very expensive. Although, as we're going to learn today, not all caviar is expensive. And we should also point out that it's one of those foods that a lot of people know about. Not that many people have tried, and many people get a wrong impression, right? Often when you think of caviar, you think of eating it in a spoon. It's actually often served on toast with some hard-boiled egg and some onion on top. So there's a lot more to eating caviar than just eating tiny little salty fish eggs.
So you can't really just eat it by itself? Is it going to be too much?
You can,
but
it's
strong.
It's
the
very
flavor
strong.
Is very strong.
Yeah, exactly right. So it is something I think everyone might want to try once in their life, but I think once you try it, you'll be happy to live without it. You know, it's not something that you'll go, I must have this every day for the rest of my life. No, because it's unusual, it's interesting, it's very special, but like a lot of things, maybe just for really special occasions.
Like New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Birthdays, if you're in Russia, you know, that kind of thing. So let's find out a lot more about caviar. These are definitely little eggs, and they definitely come with big price tags.
If there's one food that is synonymous with fine dining, it's caviar. These tiny fish eggs are served in fancy restaurants the world over, and 15-gram jars of the stuff can sell for hundreds of dollars. But why is it so expensive? There are many different types of fish eggs. Some have the appearance of little black beads, while others look like bright orange jewels. Not all of them are expensive, and many, like lumpfish eggs, are often sold in supermarkets. Lumpfish mature quickly, so you don't need to wait long for their eggs to develop. This makes lumpfish eggs relatively cheap.
Okay, so yes, caviar, little eggs, big price tags. As we will learn, caviar is something that people might think is a certain thing, very tiny little black fish eggs. In fact, it means a lot more than that. And these are little eggs. I think that's definitely true. But the big price tag, we'll find that, well, big has a different meaning. There can be big, and there can be big, but it's not always the same. So let's find out all about this.
Maybe it could be affordable, right?
I think we might actually be able to buy it even if we're not multi-millionaires.
Nice. Okay, well, let's find out more about it. If there's one food that is synonymous with fine dining, it's caviar. Synonymous, what does that mean? That's an adjective. The word synonymous means two words have the same or similar meaning. For example, you might say summer is synonymous with picnics, playing outside, and days at the beach.
There is a very strong connection in people's minds between these things, right? So when people say fancy dining or fine dining, they often think of foods like caviar, escargot, champagne, you know, stuff like that. But again, it's not always as fancy as you might think. It says these tiny fish eggs are served in fancy restaurants the world over. And 15-gram jars of the stuff can sell for hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars, US dollars,
that would
right?
be US dollars, not NT dollars. And that's 15 grams, a very, very small amount. So here's the big question, but why is it so expensive? Well, we'll be getting answers to that question as we go through the article. But yes, I think it's safe to say that at least in people's minds, caviar is a very fancy kind of food. And when we say fancy, the adjective, it is kind of synonymous, or it makes us think of expensive. Something expensive, maybe something very well decorated or something like that. A 5-star hotel is fancy. A restaurant with 3 Michelin stars is fancy. If you have to go somewhere and the lady has to wear a beautiful gown and the man has to wear a special tuxedo suit. That must be a fancy party. Not average, not casual, not cheap, not anything like that, but very high class and expensive. For example, Carol bought a fancy car last week, but she crashed it right away.
Uh-oh.
That Rolls Royce is no more. Too bad.
Okay, let's go back to the article though. There are many different types of fish eggs. Some have the appearance of little black beads, while others look like bright orange jewels. Okay, so I guess they're all called caviar, right? Like different types of fish eggs, right? Okay, and so first word we're looking at is bead, and that is a noun. A bead is a small round object, usually with a hole in the middle, that can be made of, many different materials like glass, wood, or plastic. And then sometimes you can make like a necklace or you can make bracelets. So for example, my mom's favorite necklace is made of blue beads and a gold chain.
Nice. I like to use beads to make bracelets for my Swiftie friends.
Aw, that's right. You are a Taylor Swift fan.
Yes. All right, we also have this word jewel. Now, if you're really expensive, if you're really rich, I should say, and you don't want to have beads on your Taylor Swift bracelet, well then, of course, you must have jewels. I'm joking, but jewels and beads are often used in the same kind of way to decorate jewelry, but jewels are made of very precious stones. So things like rubies, sapphires, emeralds, diamonds as well. They can be put in jewelry, they can be used as decoration, maybe a king or a queen on their crown, they would have jewels or something like that. So they're shiny, they're attractive, and they often come from natural stones and rocks found in the ground. Gems and jewels in jewelry are often very similar. G-E-M is very similar to jewel. For example, in the museum, we saw many beautiful jewels because, of course, kings and queens, emperors and empresses in history, they often collected jewels because they're very, very expensive.
That's
like caviar.
That's right. Not all of them, no, we're talking about the fish eggs.
Caviar,
Not all of them are expensive, and many, like lump fish eggs, are often sold in supermarkets. Okay, so I guess when people think of caviar, we just think about the little black fish eggs.
The famous ones,
yes.
often from Russia.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but actually not all of them are like that, and not all of them are that expensive.
Exactly right. In the same way that not all beef is famous Kobe Wagyu beef, which is very expensive. You can get normal beef too that doesn't cost anywhere near that much. And apparently lumpfish, who have a terrible name, they need to get a better name. I think they need to hire a new manager. Lumpfish, what an ugly name. But anyways, lumpfish mature quickly, so you don't need to wait long for their eggs to develop. Okay. In the same way that certain animals grow more slowly than others and they're often more expensive, lumpfish are the cheap version of caviar. They mature quickly. They become grown up in order to make their own eggs in just a few months maybe, so you don't need to wait long for their eggs to develop. I mean, it takes a few years to grow a cow so that we can eat it. It takes a few months to grow a chicken or a pig or something like that. Same kind of idea. And this makes lumpfish eggs relatively cheap, and certainly much cheaper than the expensive little black caviar we often think of. So there you go. Already a little bit of a shopper's guide to caviar, and we'll have more after the break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。鱼子酱可以说是精致餐饮的同义词了。这些小鱼卵在世界各地的高档餐厅都有供应，小小一罐15公克的鱼子酱可以卖到好几百美元。那今天的课程中，我们就要来了解为什么鱼子酱这么贵。好，补充一下 ，Caviar 就是指鱼子酱。Mike 老师还有提到 escargot 就是表达食用瓜牛，还有 champagne 就是指香槟。好，我们看到课文他提到说鱼卵有很多种，有些看起来像黑色的小珠子，有些看起来像这种亮橙色、亮橘色的宝石。那并不是所有的鱼卵都很贵，很多是可以在超市买得到的，像是元鳍鱼卵。元鳍鱼成熟的很快，不用等很久，它们的卵就可以生成，所以这个元鳍鱼卵相对的便宜。好，我们看单字 fancy， fancy 它是形容高档的、豪华的。bead Bead 表示珠子，它是名词。指我则表示宝石，它也可以指珠宝首饰。那当这个意思解释时，就常用复数型。Mike 老师在解释单字时用到 gem，G-E-M。Gem 它表示宝石或是珍宝。老师还有提到几种宝石可以学一下，像 Ruby 就是红宝石， Sapphire 是蓝宝石， Emerald 则是绿宝石。好，这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。这边我们来学习 make 加受词加受词补语的句型，表示使什么成为什么，变成怎么样。make 在这边它表示使具有某种特性，或是使成为什么什么。那受词补语我们可以用到形容词或是名词。这边看两个例句 ：The comment made her angry。那则评论让她很生气。The actor's charm made the movie a joy to watch。演员的魅力使这部电影赏心悦目。好，那我们接着回到课文中。
Caviar is much pricier because it traditionally comes only from sturgeon. This fish can sometimes take up to 18 years to produce eggs. Sturgeon are also quite rare, with many species considered endangered. Therefore, caviar is harder to get your hands on than other fish eggs, which makes it more expensive. People are also willing to shell out for caviar because of its unique taste. It has a rich, salty flavor that is unlike anything else. But if you want to try this delicacy for yourself, you'd better start saving up, as these little eggs have big price tags.
All right, we are back and we're learning a lot about caviar and especially learning that not all caviar is the same. Lumpfish caviar is produced very quickly and cheaply. So that's a caviar that almost anyone could probably afford, and you could find some in your local supermarket. But now let's go to the other end of the scale and talk about that fancy caviar, the little black salty eggs that many people think of.
Okay, well, let's learn about it. Caviar is much pricier because it traditionally comes only from sturgeon. This fish can sometimes take up to 18 years to produce eggs, and that is why it's so expensive.
Ooh, that is
18 years?
Absolutely. I guess it takes these fish almost as long as a human, or longer than a human would, to be able to grow up and, make eggs and make babies. So that's clearly a problem. And also, we read sturgeon are also quite rare, with many species considered endangered. I think a lot of them come from either Lake Baikal or the Caspian Sea, only those places in Russia. And of course, overfishing, fishing too much, has caused a big problem. So it's just hard to find these fish. And as you said, it takes a long time for this species to produce eggs. So that all adds up to being very expensive. When we talk about a species, we're talking about a certain type of animal. All right, a species will be different from other types of animals. All the ones in one species can create babies together, but if they try to have babies with other animals outside of their species, they cannot do that. For example, a rare species of fish lives in this lake, so fishing isn't allowed.
You gotta protect the fish, right?
Yes, please.
So they won't be endangered.
Right.
So endangered, that is an adjective. Endangered means something is actually in danger of becoming extinct or seriously hurt or killed. So extinct just means there won't be any more of this type of species. So for example, you could say we saw lots of endangered plants when we walked through the forest. And when something is endangered, we got to make sure we do our part to protect it so we can still see them in the future.
That's right. Endangered plants and animals often have laws around them. You can't hunt them, pick them, kill them, trade them, sell them, own them, things like that. Leave them in nature, because if you don't, they'll be gone, and then there will be no more for the rest of time. And that's sad.
Right.
Things like the polar bear.
Aww. Yeah. Okay, well, let's continue. Therefore, caviar is harder to get your hands on than other fish eggs, which makes it more expensive. Now I can understand. It takes 18 years, right? 18 years to get the fish eggs.
Yep.
And then the fish, the sturgeon, it's actually they're endangered, right?
It is also very endangered. So there aren't many out there. That makes it I should do two hands showing how expensive it is.
Super expensive.
Very, very cost a lot. People are also willing to shell out for caviar because of its unique taste. So all of these eggs, these fish eggs, of course, coming from different fish and being different sizes and stuff, they all have different flavors or different tastes. People are willing to shell out for caviar. When we say shell out, we basically mean spend money or pay for, and often more than you might expect, more than normal. You really had to shell out for that first-class airplane trip to London or something like that. It was quite expensive, but people will pay it because of its special, unique taste. It has a rich, salty flavor that is unlike anything else. And I think that's one of the things that people like and are surprised about with caviar when you eat it. It really is a flavor that you've never experienced before.
That's right. And then the flavor is really rich and salty. And this is probably why you probably don't want to have too much of it, right?
And probably why you wouldn't want to have it every day.
Exactly. Once in a blue moon, it's okay.
Sure.
Okay. But if you want to try this delicacy for yourself, you'd better start saving up, as these little eggs have big price tags. Or you can go for the other ones, the lumpfish eggs too, right?
You could do that, or maybe just ask for some for your birthday.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Caviar Santa will bring some for Christmas.
Maybe. I guess that would be a good idea. Oh, could I have some for my birthday?
How about we share some?
Okay, that's a good idea.
I think that's a better idea because I want some too. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Enjoy your fish eggs, but whatever you do when you're having these animals, do try to get them from a good ethical source. We don't want endangered animals to end up on our dinner table in any way.
That's right.
That would be wrong. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
See you guys next time.
鱼子酱的价格高很多，是因为传统上它只来自鲟鱼。这种鱼有时候需要长达18年才能产卵。那么鲟鱼也相当罕见，许多物种被认为濒临绝种。因此鱼子酱比其他鱼卵更难取得，所以就比较贵咯。好，单字 species 或是念作 species， 它是指动植物的物种。注意这个单字它单复数同形。那么 endangered 它是形容濒临绝种的。Mike 老师提到说，那些罕见的鲟鱼可能来自 Baikal， 它是指贝加尔湖，还有提到 Caspian Sea， 就表示里海这个地方。好，那么课文最后提到说，人们因为它独特的味道而愿意花大钱去买鱼子酱。那如果你想要亲自来品尝这种美食，最好要开始存钱咯。好，补充单字 delicacy 就表示美食佳肴。Mike 老师最后也提醒我们，作为消费者应该要确保食物来源它符合伦理标准。老师用到 ethical E-T-H-I-C-A-L ethical 它是形容伦理的或是道德的，合乎道德的。而这边有2个重点，我们进入文法时间。我们来看第一个重点是 get one's hands on something， 这是表达把什么弄到手得到的意思。那么动词 get 也可以用 lay 或者是 put 代替。举例来说 The key must be here somewhere，but I can't lay my hands on it right now。 那只钥匙一定就在这里的某个地方，但我现在一时找不到。好，那第二个重点是 shell out， 表示花钱支付。这个片语可以当及物用或是不及物用，常常只花了一大笔钱。那可以用 shell out 加金额来表达花多少钱，也可以用 shell out for 加名词来表达为什么东西花大钱。像是Are you willing to shell out for concert tickets？ 你愿意花大钱买演唱会门票吗？好，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
If there's one food that is synonymous with fine dining, it's caviar. These tiny fish eggs are served in fancy restaurants the world over, and 15-gram jars of the stuff can sell for hundreds of dollars. But why is it so expensive? There are many different types of fish eggs. Some have the appearance of little black beads, while others look like bright orange jewels. Not all of them are expensive, and many, like lumpfish eggs, are often sold in supermarkets. Lumpfish mature quickly, so you don't need to wait long for their eggs to develop. This makes lumpfish eggs relatively cheap. Caviar is much pricier because it traditionally comes only from sturgeon. This fish can sometimes take up to 18 years to produce eggs. Sturgeon are also quite rare, with many species considered endangered. Therefore, caviar is harder to get your hands on than other fish eggs, which makes it more expensive. People are also willing to shell out for caviar because of its unique taste. It has a rich, salty flavor that is unlike anything else. But if you want to try this delicacy for yourself, you'd better start saving up, as these little eggs have big price tags.
Here's how to play. The host will be holding 3 cards. Each card will have 2 sentences containing a secret vocabulary word or phrase that has been replaced by the word bear. The host will read the sentences out loud for the contestants to guess. Whoever guesses first gets a point. The person with the most points wins. And you can play along too.
Hey guys, I'm Stephen.
I'm Josh.
I'm Caleb.
We're gonna play this game that is super fun, and we'll try to see who's gonna win.
Tell me more.
All right, let's just get into it. All right, this is a noun. It's one word. Number 1, Mom put the candies on the highest bear. Number 2, please put the books back on the bear when you're done with them.
Quidenza.
Number 1 again was Mom put the candies on the highest bear. Number 2, please put the books back on the bear when you're done with them.
Shelf.
There you go. Good job. All right, number 1, Mom put the candies on the highest shelf. Number 2, please put the books back on the shelf when you're done with them. All right, number 2, this is a verb, one word. The first sentence, Tim hasn't bared from his cold. Number 2, get plenty of rest and you'll bear in no time. There you go. Good job, Caleb. So it was recover. All right, number 1, Tim hasn't recovered from his cold. Number 2, get plenty of rest and you'll recover in no time. All right, so here comes the tiebreaker. It is a phrase, it's 2 words, okay? All right. Number 1, Rex didn't expect to hear his name and looked up bear. Number 2, Darla jumped bear when I tapped her on the shoulder. Now again, I'll repeat it. Number 1, Rex didn't expect to hear his name and looked up bear. All right, and number 2, Darla jumped bear when I tapped her on the shoulder.
All right, I'm gonna go with, you go first.
High up.
High up?
The answer.
I'm gonna go with in shock.
Very close.
In awe.
I want to hear it again.
Okay. Rex didn't expect to hear his name and looked up bear. Darla, number 2, Darla jumped bear when I tapped her on the shoulder.
Up, right, down, below, side.
Isn't that's
okay.
In shock?
Oh, you're so close. All right, because of time, I have to give you the answer. It's in surprise. So you're very close. So Rex didn't expect to hear his name and looked up in surprise. And Darla jumped in surprise when I tapped her on the shoulder. You're just more surprised. You're like really shocked. Yeah, it was in surprise.
So why'd you do that to Darla, mate?
I still think it was a tie. You guys are both winners. We're both losers.
Yeah.
We both jumped up in
tying
surprise.
loss.
Yeah.
It's a tying loss.